You were cowards in the way that you dealt with me. You all along were thinking that I was the person that needed to be taught a lesson. You were going to show me how it worked in Grandview, Colorado, how the real world worked. You people needed to be taught a lesson.
What's your emergency?
This is Sherry at the trash company. And there is a bulldozer over at Mountain Park Concrete destroying their building.
It's destroying the building? Okay.
Yeah.
Is anyone on it?
Yeah, it's all encased in metal, and you can't see who's driving or anything. They can't get it to stop.
Marge on the radio, she was screaming. She said, Cody, Cody. Man, I went running over. Then he just turned the dozer and headed for the match tank.
911, what is your emergency?
Hi, this is Sherry at the trash company again.
Yeah.
It is headed for their main building right now.
Headed for the main building. Okay.
Cody had grabbed a handgun from one of his workers.
Bob Howard gave it to me. He said, be careful, it's loaded. I said, good.
Takes the gun up and bang, bang. Not only is the diesel engine screaming as it's pushing the dozer, but the treads, they're creaking and scraping. There's the roar of the engine, and then there's just the sound of crash and ruin, because he's really knocking all these walls down.
The tracks are probably the most memorable thing. Our goal was to get the heaviest thing we could pack by hand, because if you can get tangled up in some steel, you're going to stop that track. We got a big piece of angle iron off of Cody Docheff's steel rack. It was probably 1/2 inch diameter, so it was really heavy. Our intentions was to try to lodge that into the tracks and get it tangled up so it'd break the track. That didn't work.
Then I tried getting up on the machine, the ripper, the back end of it. What was I going to do? I don't know. I kept sliding off. I couldn't get up there. I kept sliding off. It was full of like Vaseline, grease. Well, what are you going to do? Try to stop himself?
We have an armored, very armored situation at Killdozer.
At one I copy, there's an armored bulldozer carrying down the building. There are several deputies en route.
The time of the call, which was up and stopped my car, and there's a bulldozer that doesn't completely look like a bulldozer anymore. I grabbed a shotgun and ran towards the bulldozer. I'm yelling, I'm ordering it to stop. It backs away from the building, and a front end loader approaches it, and I see the front end loader is being operated by Cody Docheff.
I told Cody, get and see if you can't get underneath his track to uplift him. And Cody did. He backed up with a big loader and hit him.
So he takes his front end loader
And hit him.
So he takes his front end loader and slams into the side of it.
I went up into his track. They said, raise him up, raise him up. I kept raising him. He's so heavy, I only had one tire left on the ground. The other was about 3 foot up in the air.
And all it did was lift the back of the front end loader up.
I slipped off. When he backed out, he was backing out in the middle of the yard there. I went to get him again. When I hit him, he said my wheels went off the ground about 4 feet. I didn't see all of that happen because when I hit him, my head hit the windshield. I was down.
It shook him hard enough that I think that's when Marv started letting out the rounds.
Marv had a .50 caliber rifle pointed out the back. He shot numerous rounds into Cody's bucket.
We have shot fired. We have automatic weapons from the bulldozer.
You know, I came to, all I could see is dust coming out the bucket.
Luckily, all the rounds hit the bucket Cody figures out where he is, and he's not hit, he's okay, and he backs up and he thinks, what am I going to do now?
Shortly after that, Cody realized that was too much. He was done.
That's when the officers started surrounding the place.
And I transitioned from a shotgun to an M4 rifle. And about that time, I was joined by a state trooper, Dave Patura.
At first, Cody speculated that there's not a human being in there. It's being run by radio controls.
I said, it's Marv Emar. I don't think nobody's in that dozer.
Around the building in that bulldozer, and that's when I got my first look of it. I don't know, I expected to see a bulldozer. It looks like a tank. There's this huge black monstrosity. I mean, almost like a World War I big, and then the next thing you're thinking is
behemoth. Sergeant Rich Garner was our designated marksman. As we started firing, and of course the rounds were having absolutely no effect, he saw 3 state troopers behind a stack of Jersey barriers that were next to the building.
Watch out, the guy's gonna come over here with another dozer.
Instead of just going on by them, he turned and drove directly at those Jersey barriers. If those troopers hadn't moved
there. He put the blade up against that, started pushing it. Kept pushing it sideways. Well, then it caught the rims on the wheel.
The copy vehicle smoking heavily at 4th and Agate.
He damaged copycat printers a bit while he's positioning to get his bulldozer facing towards the Gamble store.
He said, well, he's headed for Gamble's. Oh, I don't remember how the verbiage was, and my stomach just like a ball, just clenched, because I knew my life was going to be completely different.
The engine of the bulldozer began overheating.
I was across the street watching as it came up the street, and then watched as it turned in to go down the side of the Gamble store.
You could also tell that he's starting to lose power at this time.
And then it starts methodically just tearing apart that Gamble store.
So he took a run at Gamble's, not realizing that the right-hand side track would go into the basement, and that left him stuck, unable to move.
This is the first time he's actually stopped and the machine shut down. But we don't know what he's doing. So we pulled everybody back.
Warren, confirm your location.
Right now,
And it was a short time after that, a gunshot was heard.
A couple sheriff's deputies actually got on top of it and were trying to figure out if there was something they could do, some way they could get in. They had the same luck that I had, which is none.
Some SWAT teams came up from other jurisdictions and attempted to breach the bulldozer with an explosive charge.
And they started
cut off the access point to